Hi there, KOIN 6 Chief Meteorologist Josh Cozart. Welcome to KOIN Plus Conversations. This time around, we're going to be taking a little bit of a trip up to the high terrain of the Cascades. That's where we are going to be able to see some truly remarkable sights right here in our own backyard. I want to be able to take you on this trip because it's not the easiest hike for folks. A lot of times it's the elevation, it's the travel out to destinations just like this that sometimes make it a little bit tricky for everybody to be able to enjoy to the fullest all the beautiful sights that we see here in the Pacific Northwest. And I gotta say, one of my favorite summertime activities is just being able to spend time outdoors under the sunshine, the warmth. We kind of start thinking once we move into the month of August, September, that those wet, rainy conditions, they're slowly going to be working their way back into our area. So I want to hold on to it as long as I possibly can and soak up every bit of Mother Nature for us here, as Oregon is probably one of the greenest states I've ever lived in. And these sights that you were seeing here, some of the most beautiful I have seen across the country. And that's coming from someone who grew up in Colorado, the Rocky Mountains, Mount Hood views on the top Spur trailhead. Oh boy, it doesn't beat this. As we travel our way up in elevation, I'm going to also be taking you on the trip with my husband, Cozart, as we give you a little bit better of an insight. So these are our travels to Top Spur Trailhead. I hope you enjoy. Getting to Top Spur Trailhead from downtown Portland is pretty easy. Just head east towards Mount Hood. Taking East Highway 26 will not only give you stunning views of Oregon's tallest point, but you'll get to drive through some of Oregon's great mountain towns, like Sandy. Once you hit Welch's, you'll take a left onto East Lolo Pass Road. From there, you will take a right onto North Forest Road 1828. You'll take that all the way to the parking area at the start of Top Spur Trailhead. Don't worry, you can't miss it. There's not much else out there. Overall, it's about an hour and 25-minute trip from downtown Portland. Once we got parked and settled, we made sure to apply sunscreen because we're literally closer to the sun. About 4,500 feet closer, as the trail takes us through about a 600-foot elevation change. I would also suggest wearing a bit of bug spray with DEET as well. It can be a bit buggy while in the trees before you get to the amazing lookout point. The hike itself is just over 2 miles if you decide to take the entire loop. Otherwise, the views are about a mile in and a mile to turn back around and come down. Overall, it should take an experienced hiker about an hour and 20 minutes without any stops. And from there, let's hit the trail. All right, starting off at Top Spur Trailhead. After what, an hour and a half ride or so? Not from downtown Portland.
Careful for the horse poop.
Yes, thank you.
Have fun.
Thanks. We'll do.
Break an ankle.
Yeah.
Oh, those are deep.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, definitely a lot of roots, rocks to kind of get through. And at least this first part is kind of a more steep trek. It starts around 3,500 feet or so. And it continues to take us up. Definitely feels like you're walking on a Stairmaster at this first part, but don't let that deter you. The insights are definitely worth it. And you can really kind of tell during the summer months here in the Pacific Northwest. We actually, my husband and I, Cole, we walked this just a week ago, and there were little streams running through here. A week later of highs up into the 90s, no measurable rainfall. That has now all started to dry up. So it's week to week without any rainfall, especially during our dry months, really allows for that wildfire potential to go up. So as we're kind of hiking here, fire definitely not something we are taking lightly, because even seems like there's more pine needles on the ground. And again, this is exactly a 7-day stretch without any rainfall and high temperatures.
We'll watch out here.
Oh yeah, big when we were driving up here, we caught several horses, and they've definitely made their mark in some of the in-between route areas. So definitely want to keep your eyes peeled for any traps that might get your ankles. And honestly, wearing a good hiking boot like this, that will be very beneficial to kind of help support the ankle on a hike like this. Yeah, even this stream is down a little bit compared to what we had seen, and with some of this lingering water, at least towards the start of the hike, there's a lot of bugs. So we have definitely sprayed ourselves with a lot of DEET to avoid ticks. I mean, the biggest thing that we've seen out here is the flies that's kind of latch on, and we'll do a bit of a number with the bite, but the DEET seems to kind of keep them under control. We've also been noticing a lot of different wildflowers in bloom, even a lot of the late season rhododendrons at about 4,000 feet still blooming up here, as opposed to, say, April and May that we see along the Willamette Valley. The fork in the road. The fork in the road. All right, so funny story with this. This is the Pacific Crest Trail number 2000. We had kind of looked at the maps before, and we knew that there was some sort of full loop. So we saw a few people going to the left. Turns out that is not the direction to go to the full loop. That's just going to take you down the Pacific Crest. But if you take a right after you start on the top spur trailhead, if you take a right on the Pacific Crest, that should get you to the vantage point, and a significantly shorter hike. You can look at the views, turn around, and then head back down, just like what we were talking about with those guys.
Beautiful the other way too, but this is where we're going.
This has the great views. So let's head to the right this time. Definitely a lot cooler when we got out of the car at the start of the trailhead. Temperature was reading about 81 degrees. Far different picture than when our car thermometer was reading 100 degrees on the highway driving up here. But the elevation definitely makes it a little trickier to hike because you have less oxygen. But then it's also a good cool down for you as well. So now you're going to enter into an area that gives you several different options. What we want to do is we want to continue to go straight. So there's the Pacific Crest Trail again, and then there's Timberline and a basin over there. So we definitely want to go directly straight. Timberline Trail number 600, Muddy Fork, is what we were taking. And I did kind of map this out this time around, so we want to make the same mistake. We're not doing the full loop today. We're just going to get out to that vantage point. And after we take this straight route, there will be another fork in the road, and that's when we want to stay to the right that time. And it should be up here just a little ways, because Bald Peak or Bald Mountain, lack of trees on the hillside, that's going to give us that really kind of picturesque classic Mount Hood view that, quite frankly, it is pretty accessible once you get past that first top spur trailhead. That one definitely is a little more rooted, a little more rocky, but once you get to those forks, everything kind of starts to smooth out just a little bit for us. So we also got a lot of these, which are just now starting to finish blooming. A lot of those classic flowers that you see develop up through the higher terrain. They don't last very long. They obviously peter out within about a week. So they were in full bloom last week. Having a lot of pollinators, the bees, the flies even, were enjoying them. But it now looks like they were just about done for the season. And as of this hike, July 13th is the date. And definitely seeing the dry conditions as well. You can really see that the moss on the trees has started to dry out too for the season. That potentially could add more fuel to potential wildfires. Not saying that this is a spot that could get it, but if it's happening here, likely happening over much of the high terrain of the Cascades. Points east, we're even seeing it through the valley locations with not only the moss but down trees as well. So coming up after this break, we'll be discussing when you should start to see some of those incredible Mount Hood views. I'm telling you folks, it's quite the sight to see. So we'll see you right back here on KOIN Plus in just a few moments. All right, welcome back to this KOIN Plus special. Chief Meteorologist Josh Cozart here, my husband, Cole Cozart. If you're just now joining us, we are hiking through the Cascades, heading, I should say, to a great view of Mount Hood. This is honestly one of my favorite stops when I first moved to the Pacific Northwest. This was one of the first hikes I started to take. We're now in the Mount Hood Wilderness officially. Thus, the sign saying that, boy, hit not disappoint when you round this curve. Heights, folks, definitely want to be cautious about that. All right, obviously the showstopper is Mount Hood itself when you come out of the trees here, but also just all of the wildflowers, just really kind of taking all of that in with those great views. Also, here's some of the off in the distance. Might not be able to be picked up on our microphone here, but great sound of the rushing water as the snow melts up on Oregon's tallest peak, Mount Hood. Not surprising because now that we've rounded about outside of the trees, definitely a lot hotter for us. But I mean, it's worth the view. I also got to say, the butterflies are incredible too. Just really kind of puts you in the setting. So this will continue to take you on into that loop that Cole and I had initially tried to plan out. But for right now, I think this is going to be kind of our stopping grounds. This is where we're gonna sit back, relax, and really just kind of enjoy the scenery that's behind us. We'll set up a bit of a time lapse so you can just sit and enjoy with us, because I mean, these views are quite spectacular. Again, a tricky hike to start off with, but by the end it does get a little bit easier. It has this great payout with just really spectacular sights. But I know a lot of folks aren't able to get up in the mountains as easily, so wanted to be able to just take this trip with you and be able to share the incredible sights that we're seeing here in our own backyard in the Pacific Northwest. All right, we finally made it to the very top of Bald Mountain with those spectacular views behind me. We sat back, we relaxed, we had a drink of water, and now we're just gonna turn right back around, head down. So heading down always a little bit easier, but definitely a just truly spectacular sight right here in our own backyard in the Pacific Northwest. So let's head back down to the car and back to Portland. Yeah, if you're afraid of heights, this is a...
Yeah, that's a steep drop off there.
Right, the trees, of course, reveal great Mount Hood views, but also some really hot temperatures. Now back into the trees, already starting to feel the temperatures cool just a little bit. Again, it's this later half. That was about a mile or so of a hike in to actually see that view. This is pretty flat, pretty maintained. It's the top Spur trailhead. That definitely, you don't have to trek up it quite as fast as Cole and I did, but it can be a bit of a challenging hike for maybe not the avid hiker, to say the least. But overall, it can be done. And always when you're hiking, you can take breaks. It doesn't always have to be sprint to the top, get to your destination. Enjoy the trip along the way. We kind of booked it straight up here because we were just here last week. But on our way up, that first kind of half mile was definitely a little bit slower, just taking in the sights, feeling the cool rushing water of that little stream that now has since dried up, and, you know, enjoying a lot of the flowers as well. That's always my big thing, which you've seen a fair amount on KOIN 6 during my weather segments as well. But overall, just a great step away from the city, from maybe the suburb life, just the rat race that is life, just to get some fresh air. And again, this was an easy Sunday afternoon drive towards the Cascades, towards Mount Hood. It only took us about an hour and 30 minutes at most. Now we're heading back. We're gonna have dinner, and now just kind of a great end to a nice weekend in the summer season here in the Pacific Northwest. And just like that, we have come to the end of the hike. Top Spur trailhead, just outside of the Mount Hood area, giving us some spectacular views. I hope you enjoyed the hike. Maybe you weren't as breath as my husband and I were, but hopefully you enjoyed the views and are able to start your own summertime adventure before the winter rains and for the Cascades, the winter snow once again returns. Thanks for watching this KOIN Plus special. We'll catch you again later. Have a good one.